Welcome all, and thank you so much for joining the Empowering a Billion Women EBW Day 2020, A Global Perspective. It's such an honor to be asked to be a part of this powerful event and to provide some music for you guys, especially during the current times in our country. I was so grateful to be asked to contribute, and I can't wait to experience the positivity and words from these incredible global women leaders and hear their stories from around the world. But first, I'm Jackie Vincent, I'm from Austin, Texas, and I'm here to kick things off with some music. They say freedom is in the mind. Well, we lose our freedom when we get too scared to fight. One step forward is another step farther behind. Hardly nothing can make me cry. But when I saw history repeat, I wiped my eyes. One step forward is another step farther behind. You see, I go out on the corner and bare my soul, play my guitar strings until my fingers swole. I don't make much money and they treat me mean, but I know that this creation keeps my heart beating. We lose this music when we fall for the dollar signs. One step forward is another step farther behind. It's the healing and the love and the connectivity. We lose this music when we fall for the dollar signs. One step forward is another step farther behind. What I say, one step forward is another step farther behind. Keep playing till the sun goes down on my life. Thanks, y'all. Now I'm going to turn it over to the president of Empowering a Billion Women, Rhonda Peruti.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the EBW Day event 2020. I'd like to welcome you and to tell you that we've got an amazing and inspiring itinerary planned, and we're so thankful you're here to go on this journey with us. To start, I really wanted to talk a little bit about why I joined EBW. And earlier in the year, when you look at 2020 and just all of the unknown fear and tragedies that we've seen around the world, I really was trying to go deep and find what I really wanted to do next. And while I was doing that, thinking about all I've done in my career as a global technologist, a builder, an operator, a good friend of mine in Ingrid Vanderveld, our CEO, reconnected us, I should say. And when we came together and Ingrid caught me up on all the amazing things that her and the team have done and what she wanted to do next, where she wanted to take the business and what she wanted to build, her sense of passion and just overall, her vision was something that, was undeniable for me that I wanted to be a part of. And it's just been a pleasure to join this team and to be a part of this mission and calling and really a purpose. And with that, I would like to I have the pleasure of introducing our founder and our CEO, someone who has helped billions around the world. She's an inspiration to us all and to anyone that crosses paths with her. When you look at all that she's done from a technology perspective, being at the top of the industry, when you look at all of the public work she's done with legislation as a television host, and her overall calling and lifelong mission to empower women and girls, we're just, so in awe of you, Ingrid, and I'm gonna turn it over to you and let you take it away.
Well, hi, everybody. And Rhonda, as you're talking, I'm thinking, okay, don't tear up again. Oh, everybody, hi there. I'm Ingrid Vanderveld. I am the founder and CEO of Empowering a Billion Women, the global brand that has been 10 years in the making. And we stand here strong today, looking back and reflecting on the past 10 years that we've experienced together. And we're also looking forward to what are the next 10 years going to look like. And before I hop into just a little bit of background, Rhonda, I just thank you so much for being here. When you look at the team of people, the leaders, the extraordinary global leaders that are here as part of Empowering a Billion Women, just like Rhonda, a technology executive from companies like Hewlett Packard and Assure Software. I mean, these are executives that can literally be anywhere that they choose to be. And it is so humbling and such an honor to be able to step into every day and be able to work with leaders like Rhonda, who are here with a mission and a calling and a business sense with a shared sense of values around what we all recognize, which is as we continue to advance forward, especially as we all have come through and we begin to look beyond this year, we're looking at how do we ensure that what's happened in 2020, we mitigate that and hopefully that never happens again in many, many ways. But how do we also take the challenges of this year and turn them into opportunities? And how do we take that next step to say, how are we going to create that global sustainable future that we've been talking about for 10 years? And that global sustainable future that we all envision, that inspires our children, our sisters, our brothers, our parents, our grandchildren, it's happening through a new set of eyes. And that is the eyes of women. So and I always have to say, a few unbelievable, many, not just a few, but many amazing men, visionaries that we get to lock arms with and advance forward with. And we are so grateful for you. This journey, as I mentioned, it started 10 years ago on a dirt road in Dallas, Texas. And for those of you who have heard me speak before, we've had the opportunity to spend a little bit of time together. You've heard that story that at the age of 4, I grew up with this sense of missionary calling, if you will, to serve women and girls around the world. I just didn't know, obviously, at the age of 4 what that was going to look like. And that moment really unveiled itself on that dirt road. It was really 2011, so almost 10 years ago. But I was on a dirt road, literally driving down the road, asking, okay, after all of these experiences that have happened in my career, some wonderful opportunities to be a television host, to build my first technology company, to raise investor financing, to have lots of amazing success that was only made possible by the incredible people that were around me. There were also those moments that you all have heard of where I lost everything. I was broke and homeless when I had not yet learned financial literacy. How do I build a business successfully? How do I make sure to know when the writing's on the wall, it's time to pivot or it's time to make a new decision? And there were some really, really challenging moments also that culminated into 2011 when on that dirt road, I heard that call to empower 1 billion women by 2020. And in a call like that, these things do not happen alone. These things only happen because of the incredible leadership and visionaries that, again, have that shared sense of value that if we work together, that a vision to reach 1/7 of the world's population might actually be possible. And I have goosebumps as I'm even saying that, because it was early on in 2011 that when I started walking down the path thinking, how the heck are we going to make this happen? Who are those initial partners? Those initial partners were people like Michael Dell from Dell Technologies and Steve Felice, who was the president of Dell, who I've often shared that story of I managed to get myself a meeting with Steve Felice and Michael, but Steve was the first one. And I knew I needed a global technology partner to help realize this vision, to have the possibility and potential to reach those 1 billion women. And I was so scared going into that first meeting with Steve Felice because I was like, what do you say to the president of Dell Technologies? I was called on a dirt road in Dallas, Texas, and this is my mission call. And the only way we're going to reach 1 billion women is in having a global technology partner like Dell. And one of the beautiful things about being here today and reflecting back and really reflecting back in my life of the things that have worked and the things that have not worked, what really is at the core of all of that is this deep sense of faith, but faith also in the beauty and possibility of what can happen when you give yourself the greatest gift that you can give, which is you can make something happen. You can follow the dream that you've been called on. You can surround yourself with like-minded thinkers that believe that, yes, in fact, it is possible to reach those 1 billion women by 2020. And so it was in that experience with Steve Felice in the following years that I realized the power of having the right partners around you who, yes, we've had some tough days where we were like, oh my gosh, how do we continue to serve women at this scale? How do we overcome some of the challenges that we were facing? To bring it all back to say, just keep walking that path. Don't let go of the vision. You've heard that story, 3 feet from gold. This happens to so many people around the world where we always use this analogy of, being on one side of the bridge and looking at the other side of the bridge where we're going. And in this case, empowering 1 billion women. And it's this shaky bridge, if you will, over a big canyon. And as you're walking down that bridge, it gets shakier and shakier. And you get scared and you think, how am I going to reach this vision? How am I going to reach this dream that I have for my life, that I have to leave this impact in the world? And sometimes it literally is as simple as taking that next step, holding on to those rails, making sure you're surrounded by people who, again, are going to love on you, are going to support you, are going to say yes when everybody else says no, and who are just waiting for you to show up with your audacious dream, your audacious vision, your audaciousness in saying, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? And so I sit here again 10 days, not quite 10 days, 10 years later, surrounded by an extraordinary group of global leaders who are so committed to the success of women, knowing that when women, whether we're trying to rub 2 pennies together here in the States, obviously different currencies everywhere else, or we've made millions and millions and millions of dollars, when women make money, we reinvest 90% of what we earn into our families, our communities, and ultimately the world. When we're supported, we drive 12% higher revenue than our male counterparts. When we are supported, we drive 35% higher return on investment than our counterparts. Women are fundamentally the number one best investment that anyone can make, that all of us can make, as we look at how we're coming through this pandemic and how we're emerging on the other side, and we begin to look at the new future that together we're able to create. And so today, I sit with you today to introduce you to some of these extraordinary women leaders that I not only count as colleagues, but as friends. And as we were looking at EBW Day here in this very special year of 2020, we were asking ourselves, how do we want to celebrate this? How do we want to spend this day together with you? What does this look like? How can we bring value out to the world? And as we asked ourselves those questions, we said, you know what I'd really love to hear? I want to hear what's happening in Turkey. I want to hear what's happening in Bahrain. I want to hear what's happening for the women in France. I want to hear what's happening for the women in Israel. Here in the United States, we formed the first peace agreement with Israel that we've had in so many years. And today we bring to you some of these women who are truly the face of the future of our global economy. And I could not be more proud to spend this day with you, with them, sharing from all of the people here at EBW. I know you're only getting to see a few of us today, but on behalf of all of us here today, we welcome you to an inspiring hour of just learning and connecting and really being inspired by a vision of hope, of hearing not only the resilience of what women have been facing and dealing with, and the resiliency that has enabled them to come through this year, this challenging year for all of us, and then a year full of opportunity in so many other ways, but their vision of hope for a future. And so with that, I'd like to welcome our first guest to come in and she's going to come and just spend a couple of minutes sharing with you a little bit about what's happening for the women in her country, what she has seen and her vision for the future. And we'll do that with a few women that we have. We actually have 5 women with us today. We'll then go into a little bit of a conversation, and then we're going to begin to wrap it up with an amazing executive here at EBW that we're so excited for you to meet as well. And so with that, our first guest is Fatos Esra Ozal from Turkey. Fatos and I, she is an archaeologist and a travel consultant. A really fun fact about Fatos is that when JFK Jr. Got married to Caroline, God bless his soul, but when they went on their honeymoon in Istanbul, this is the woman that took care of them in full confidence, showed them around Istanbul, and just is one of the most extraordinary, trusted companions, colleagues, leaders from Istanbul and in Turkey. She's somebody that I've known now for almost 10 years. We met each other during our Dell days, and while I was there with the other executives of Dell in Turkey, Fatos was the one that took care of me, took care of us, and we have remained friends ever since. And I am so proud and honored to have the opportunity to continue our friendship, continue our relationship and business relationship together, to be able to work together as we realize this vision of empowering 1 billion women together. And with that, I'd love to introduce you to Fatos. Welcome, Fatos.
Welcome, Ingrid. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. I like to share my thoughts and what's happening in Turkey during this pandemic and in general. First of all, the pandemic reached Turkey around March, and we had restrictions about 3 months, including curfew. Except very important life necessary facilities, everything was shut down. And our healthcare system is actually a little bit complex, but it's social medicine. For that reason, everybody who was having COVID could go and use the state hospitals and got their treatments. The mild cases, they have been treated at home, and this is the same going on still right now. And new pandemic hospitals, they have been built in big cities in case there is an extra necessity. Now, until a few weeks ago, I can say that the pandemic was actually in control. But the numbers, they started to increase again, which is a sad thing. Wearing a mask in public is required by law. And in May, around May, Turkey started to reopen actually the country back, and business started to function again. Tourism, which is my industry, actually was hurt very badly. And a great number of the country is actually dependent on tourism. But for that moment, there was no hope. I was sitting at home and waiting. And that's the time that Ingrid's message reached me. She asked me actually to become a member for a short term from EBW's team. And as they had an order from Turkey in PPE gowns, which had to be made ready and shipped to the US. That's the time there Cynthia came across. She's from the team, and I had to assist her and support her as much as I could during her stay in Istanbul. And she made a hard effort. She came all the way during the pandemic to Turkey, and together we worked and made sure that before she went back home, that all the gowns reached the US. Now, during our stay, we also did go to manufacturers to see what's happening, who we can contact with. And during that time, we realized one thing: there was very limited number of women in management positions. It was more men, dominantly men. Women we saw more, maybe sewing and textile, more in low-paid jobs. So how comes that this is happening in Turkey? Actually, Turkey is between European and Asian continent. So we have a cultural influence from both cultures. And this is a big impact on Turkish women. Now, in general, the main part of our country is on the Asian continent. And there is a big number of people who are still living on traditional values. So we can't talk about gender equality. So very limited number of women are having access to the proper education and job facilities. So besides that, some women are also struggling under home violence, and they have hard time to make any decisions for themselves. But this we can't generalize for every woman, because there's a pretty big number of women in the last decades who are also professionals who can work as doctors, as leaders. We have great women in politics, but we can't generalize this either. So for that reason, the government actually took some steps. They changed some pieces of the law in order to protect the women from violence, from giving them opportunities to be getting the same equal rights in work facilities by men. But this is a very slow process, because there's still a lot of male-dominant people who are thinking that this is not the right way of treating the women or giving them the freedom. But when I look at the social media, I am feeling that under the young generation, there is an awareness. And if we support women more in getting able to use technology, give them the chance of getting into technology, women are learning more, even if they are not able maybe to continue their education. Women are learning, and women are becoming a part of the society, and they are changing. So I want to close, if you don't mind, very shortly. I want to read you the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action by the UN in 1995, which pictured everything very well for the women in the world. A world where each woman and girl can exercise her freedom and choices and realize all her rights, such as to live free from violence, to go to school, to participate in decisions, and to earn equal pay for equal work. That's what I am really loving, and I wanted to share with you. Thank you for allowing me to give this speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatos.
Thank
Oh
you.
my
Welcome.
gosh. As I'm listening to her talk, and can you imagine, we're getting this view of what, again, is happening for the women in Turkey. And to Fatos's point, when we re-engaged and started being able to work together during this pandemic, as I mentioned, lots and lots of challenges, but it opened up extraordinary opportunities as well. One of those opportunities that, for those of you who have been part of our journey or who might just now be joining our journey, you know that EBW over these past 10 years is now, there are 3 companies under the one brand. We've got EBW 2020, which provides education and community for women around the globe. The second is we have the EBW Foundation, which brings together some of the world's top global thought leaders around how do we create policy and initiatives for women and girls around the world. And it's also where we make contributions to help those women in underserved communities gain access to the education that's going to propel them forward. And then third, just this year, we launched EBW Cares Distributors, our healthcare division that's continuing now to expand into different industries, including construction, including information technology, and a number of industries that have historically really been driven primarily by the amazing men that are out there. And we're creating these new opportunities for women to have that seat at the table. But as we tackle down that healthcare division and the healthcare work that we're doing now, Fatos, thank you so much, because we've been able to access billions of goods, move millions of items across the globe, sourcing PPE and healthcare supplies from all over the world. But this has only been made possible because of the incredible relationships with people like Fatos, who are there on the ground in these countries around the world, who, when we run into challenges, but also opportunities, are able to help us bridge through that and make sure that those products get delivered to where they need to go. And on top of that, it gives us an opportunity to more deeply serve the women of that community. And so, Fatos, thank you so much for being here. It's so great to be with you. And so now I'd like to introduce to you another amazing woman that I've known for many years, Janicka Bassis. So Janicka is one of the most incredible women who lives in Paris, France. And Janicka, I know you're going to share with us some of what has been happening for all of you over this past year. And you all have faced some significant social, health, and economic challenges there in France and across Europe. But you also see the vision for where the future might be. Janicka is the founder of WWire, World Women in Real Estate. And Janicka and I also, again, not only have we been able to spend some incredible time together just for many years, but Janicka, I'll never forget that moment you and I got to spend over there at the World Cup in France. That was just last year, where I have to say, whoop, whoop, the U.S. won. Thank you, Jill Ellis, the coach of the women's soccer team, who is a special advisor to EBW. And Janicka, it's just such a joy to always see you. Thank you for galvanizing women across Europe. Thank you for being such a leader there in France. And the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. And thank you, Fatos. It was really wonderful. It's so amazing having women being reunited around the world. It almost makes me emotional, because my mother, Melanie Everett, who had helped women around the world get into real estate, which inspired me creating WIRE, World Women in Real Estate, because it's so important for women to be able to have their own homes and to be able to control their own economy and their own finances. And we were 4 girls, and my mother really tried to teach that to us daily. Funny enough, she used to always sing to me, "Que sera, sera," which is a French song, "What will be." And I ended up in France. My mother was a refugee in France in 1947. So somehow France has been my refuge as well. And it's a wonderful population of 67 million people, but 53% are women. And I've always enjoyed, my husband had serious health issues, and it's been wonderful having public health and care, and also social retirement as well. So things are really very important. Unfortunately, today with the COVID, France is the highest among the European countries. And unfortunately, it's growing. The US has had 30 deaths per million, and France has 610. I also was of Slovak heritage, and I'm very proud of the first woman president, Zuzana Kaputova, who has only had 52 deaths per million. So what are we doing? What is actually happening? I think it's so important. You know, France is economically the third largest economy in Europe, the seventh largest economy in the world, and has a very high GDP. But most important, Ingrid, what you had talked about, it's really important, all those wonderful, audacious women. You can't see it too much, but I had last year wrote a book about audacious women, which were the first women in real estate. And I'm just regret that the governments are not supporting enough. When you think that 50% of population creates 100% of the people living on this planet, we need to take more time out to take care of them. You had said it exactly. And to also, I think we need to teach our daughters really how to help each other. We need to go towards a caring and sharing economy. And I remember when I heard of your project 5 years ago, I said, let's get 500 million women from India, 500 million women from Africa, and we're all set, Ingrid. But we're still working on that. And I thank you so much. So fun to be part of the family and teaching women how to help each other and share each other and empower each other. So your dream is my dream, Ingrid. We're going to empower 1 billion women and more. Thanks, everybody from France.
Janicka, thank you so much. And I love that when you said, well, there's 50% of the population, and it caught my attention. I was like, okay, where's she going to say with that? That creates 100% of the population. I love that. If it's okay, I'm going to steal that quote. That is fabulous. So yes, we got to make sure to take care of that 50%, right?
They
so Janicka,
and support them more, as you said. Yes, of course.
Absolutely. Well, it's again, amazing women leaders like you and men leaders as well, who really go out of your way to create those opportunities, not a give, but an opportunity to earn that place at the table, that opportunity to start, grow, and scale the business, that opportunity to shine in your fullest light. And Janicka, you do that every day, and thank you. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next speaker. And she is a newer colleague and friend, but I swear we've become sisters overnight. This is the amazing Julie Sebree, who is the Vice President of Procurement for Envision Health. And what I want to share about Julie is this. What so inspires me about Julie, there's so many things, but one thing in particular that I'd love for those of you listening today to hear that Julie spent her career in the automotive industry, okay? And there's a private equity firm that those of us who do investments and are always watching the investment markets, they're called KKR. And KKR is the gold standard, if you will, of private equity firms. KKR recruited Miss Julie Sebree out of the automotive industry, and they essentially said, we've now made this investment in this Envision Health organization, and we need your help. And so they saw something in Julie that you'll see when you meet Julie, but this woman can truly do anything, like all the other women you're meeting here today, but truly do anything she sets her mind to. And so here, this private equity firm place their dollars, place their bets, place their future on this woman that you're going to meet today. And Julie, I just love you, sister. She was the first woman as we launched our healthcare division at EBW Cares Distributors that gave us the opportunity to work together. And we were getting products out of a country that's pretty difficult to get products out of. And it was not an easy journey, and we stuck together. and made it happen. And it's because of the extraordinary leadership of women just like Julie. So Julie, the floor is yours and welcome.
Thank you, Ingrid. Thank you so much for that introduction. Your words are so kind, and it's very clear why I have adopted you as my big sister and why I have just been so excited to have you in my corner and having our back through all of this. So thank you so much. As Ingrid said, I'm the Vice President of Procurement and Supply Chain for Envision Healthcare, who is a leading medical group here in the US. We have over 27,000 clinicians and 250 ambulatory surgery centers. And my job is to support all of those folks, many of which have been on the front lines in this pandemic that we've talked a lot about today. The impacts that have been on them have just been extraordinary, and being a part of that has been the most rewarding and humbling experience of my life. With all of the challenges that we've been facing, there's really been a lot of opportunities that have come out of it. You look at where we're at today, and it's really put us in a place that we have had to learn to adapt, innovate, and collaborate in a way that we never have before. It's really caused everyone to have to be very intentional with our business priorities and initiatives, both personally and professionally, as we're navigating through all of this. I'm very proud to say that I have seen telehealth in my company today do things that it probably would have taken years for us to get to, but finding ways to be innovative, to bring care to patients who are staying out of hospitals, who are delaying treatment and missing some of their regularly appointments because they're scared to go into the hospitals and be exposed potentially to COVID. I've seen our service lines collaborate with one another, our anesthesiologists work with our radiologists, talk about patient care and share best practices. I've seen our clinicians who have raised their hand to be deployed, over 500 deployed to New York City when that was the hot spot, and continuing to deploy and raise their hand to get out there and help patients where they need it the most. And then practically standing up our PPE distribution overnight, which is where Ingrid came into my life. A little bit of background, normally the medical provider groups aren't responsible for providing PPE to the clinicians. That's something that the hospitals normally do. But knowing that we had so many clinicians out there that didn't have PPE, that didn't have the resources that they needed to adequately take care of the patients and maintain their own health and safety, it was a priority for us to figure it out. I've got to be honest with you, I was getting hundreds of emails every day when Ingrid's email came across my desk. It was one of many. And my full-time job at that point was really navigating with what maybe wasn't real product, what wasn't coming from a supplier that we would ever get the materials from, people that were looking to source and get in the middle of the supply chain, but didn't actually have the product. And seeing Ingrid's email, something about it really stood out to me. She was very personal. She was very sincere. If your time today, if this is your first chance in hearing Ingrid speak, you can probably pick up on what I mean when I say that she is just a cheerleader. She's very personal. She's very sincere in everything that she says. And something about her email really stood out to me. So I made time for the phone call, and I'm so glad that I did. My first phone call with Ingrid, she said a couple of things to me that really stood out. One, she said, "We will solve this." And we did. And she said, "I've got your back. No matter what happens, I've got your back." And throughout the process, getting voice messages from Ingrid, really at the moments where I needed it the most, has really got us through this. And Ingrid mentioned in my introduction that I was new to healthcare. So in that moment, and what she didn't realize until after we solved it, being less than 6 months in healthcare when this global pandemic hit, I had a moment where I thought, I'm in over my head. Making that leap from automotive to healthcare, I was sitting in a seat where I wasn't qualified. I questioned if I was the right person to solve this for our clinicians, if I was the person that could really get them the products that they needed to stay safe and treat patients in this. And I had that moment where I was really questioning it. And Ingrid, I just ask you to pop back on here as I'm transitioning over. I want the opportunity to thank you, because you really did. You picked me up in that moment where I needed it. And I'm on a girls' trip this weekend. My best friend, I met her at the airport wearing her t-shirt that says, "Empowered women, empower women." And that is really what you have done for me. So I have to thank you again that in that moment, you picked me up, you lifted me up, and we learned along the way right? Figuring out how to get product in, what the new FDA requirements were, and just your spirit of saying, we will solve this, we've got this. That's really the silver lining in this. And I'm just so happy to be a part of this group now, and a part of your family. So thank you for everything that you did and for welcoming me into this initiative.
Julie, thank you so much. As you know, when you said if Ingrid will pop back on, I'm like, dang it, my eyes are tearing up and my fake eyelashes are going to fall off. And Julie, just thank you so much. And you are just such a joy and such a light. And even that exchange right there, and even how we're talking about, and as I'm joking about my lashes, yesterday we were having a celebration as a business. And one of the things that I was sharing with the whole team is just this, really, as we emerge into this new economy, into this global sustainable future that we all talk about, that really now is finding so many women that for whatever reason have not had that chance to have that seat at the table, or we've held ourselves back. I know I certainly have. It's like COVID sort of gave us the opportunity to say there's no hold barred. I mean, there's nothing that can hold us back anymore. And what I so appreciate, not only with all the women, but the men out there too, is we have this opportunity to showcase this new leadership that is, again, guys, you do a great job. But as I'm looking at Ian behind the camera, but just this joyfulness, this love for one another, this, opportunity to say, bring your fullest beauty to the workplace, your fullest passion, your fullest enthusiasm, your fullest talent set, bring it to the table. And at the same time, you can be this incredible business leader. And you're, again, getting to meet some incredible women who do this for all of us every day. And so, Julie, just love seeing you here and love all the things we're going to continue to do together. And so now I have the distinct pleasure of introducing you to our next guest, Miri Berger. This woman, I met her in Copenhagen. I was the keynote speaker at a conference in Copenhagen, and then a judge for an entrepreneurship business plan competition. And Miri was part of that. And Miri got up there, and talk about having tears in your eyes. Wait until you hear a little bit about Miri's business. But when Miri got up there and presented from her heart, and presented the business that she has created, I knew in that moment, very much like you just heard Julie say, we are going to work together. We are going to, we being myself and our business, we're going to support this woman. And together we're going to make sure that she succeeds and she thrives, because what she has dedicated her life to enables opportunity and potential for so many people who otherwise wouldn't have it. And so I am so proud to have now spent years with this woman, Iceland Venture Studios, a board that I sit on, and I am part of that venture fund. We have funded her business now and continue to just pour into Miri and everything that she's about, and talk about a role model and a leader. She's coming to us from Israel. And Miri, you are just such an incredible role model and a joy as well. And thank you for all you do. Love to have you share with us a little bit about 6 Degrees, which is the company she is founder and CEO of. Welcome, Miri.
Hi, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And that includes all the wonderful women that was speaking before me. So I was told to focus on a little bit about what's going on in Israel, but just to give you an idea of what 6 Degrees is doing, our aim is to connect people that have lost their fine motor skills back to employment. And part of what Israel is doing is supporting regained employment or equal opportunity employment for individuals that have disabilities and can't reach work. And when I say can't reach, it's not only a physical connection, it's also a digital connection. If someone cannot activate their smart device, then they're also barred from reaching their job. And hopefully what we'll do with the help of Israel, the Innovation Authority here, the Tel Aviv municipality is gain that connection. Speaking a little bit about the changes that have happened during the pandemic. So everyone is having a hard time equally. Men, women, and minorities. Some have been hit harder than others. But with that, there have been peace agreements achieved. For Israel, it's with the United Emirates, with Bahrain, and with Sudan just in the last couple of months. Just to give you like some inspirational stories. We've had our first female pilot fly an F-35, been accepted to a flight squadron to fly an F-35 plane, and appointed deputy commander, the first one ever. Our social medicine has really taken off. All of the learning institutions in Israel have really joined together internally and with bodies across the world, trying to give assistance, but also explore this virus, see what vaccines and what treatments you can hand in faster. And really, hospitals are working together. Businesses that were competing are joining hands to get through to the other side. And I find that innovation brings collaboration with, between people, and it brings agileness. People are really thinking on their feet, and in terms of businesses, general businesses has really been thinking of how to reach their customer. In the past couple of years, brands have lost customer loyalty, and this pandemic has really given people to stop for a second and listen and see what their customers want, how they can offer that service remotely, how they can offer it well, and how they can expand upon their existing base. When I mentioned minorities being affected, especially female minorities, and that's not only in females employed in positions, but also and especially women-owned businesses, small and medium-sized businesses. But to counteract that, the Innovation Authority has really come out with amazing grants, amazing incentives to keep businesses going. And as Israel is part of the European Commission, we're right there with with having the advantage of being a woman-owned business, dealing with health, dealing with green initiatives and others. In terms of Israel itself, we are also a social care system, so people are being taken care of, but they're also reaching into people's pensions to keep their salaries coming in, even if they're not at work, until they find a new position, which has helped the economy kind of stay on its feet. And past that, there are incentives to keep your employees employed, not send them home on leave, as well as if you hire a new employee, the government will incentivize you to keep that going. I've met amazing women that I would never have reached if it weren't through Zoom or Google Hangouts or things like that, that are really mentoring other entrepreneurs, really helping you move to businesses. I find that you can reach people in high positions much easier and have a really honest one-on-one conversation, where otherwise you would need to travel long distances to do the same thing. So there are good things that came upon with this, as well as remote advances in education. And in terms of fundraising, I have heard of women selling their businesses and exiting, raising funds. So that's still going on in the entrepreneurship world. And the one sentence that I took from a conversation yesterday that I think applies here is that you should surround yourself with women who mentioned your name in a room full of opportunities. And I believe EBW does exactly that. And I'm blessed to be part of this community. And I want to thank you all for, taking a few minutes and listening. And I'm really excited to see what this event brings. Thanks, Ingrid.
Miri, it is so great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to see you again in person. And we so appreciate you. And everyone, we're going to go ahead and move on to Feryal Abullah Nass. And this is an extraordinary woman leader in the MENA region coming out of Bahrain. She is the founder and chairwoman of the Bahrain Entrepreneurship Organization. And I had the distinct pleasure of spending time with her just this last year when I traveled with the embassy, the State Department, as a private citizen, but representing the United States as we were building relationships around entrepreneurship, innovation, and women. And they brought me into the MENA region and into Bahrain to meet with some of the leaders from that area. And Feryal was just one of the most extraordinary women that I had the opportunity to spend time with. And I'm so honored that we, on that trip, signed a memorandum of understanding to connect our organizations and work together towards the mutual empowerment of women across the MENA region and certainly here in the United States. Feryal, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ingrid, for inviting me today for this with those amazing women that we heard today. And yes, we were very honored to sign that agreement with you. To start with Bahrain, Bahraini women are really empowered actually, and we made history in Bahrain. Actually, the Bahraini women made history that she won the head of the parliament in the last term. And we had so many women in high positions and ministers, ambassadors, and so many in the corporate boards and etc. So in terms of the pandemic, we in Bahrain, a national committee was created to fight the pandemic COVID-19. It was headed by our Crown Prince, and so many initiatives they came up with so many initiatives to support Bahrainis in all aspects. When we talk about the social level, the governmental and for example, the Supreme Council for Women, which is headed by our First Lady, played a vital role to support women and support women entrepreneurs and support needy families. And actually the governmental and the non-governmental, plus the private sector, were working hand in hand to support the families that were affected from the pandemic. Plus we were also doing they also created a mentorship program and consultation for women entrepreneurs who were affected and their businesses were affected during the pandemic. And I was one of those consultants as well. And plus, I also had a role in a global mentorship program, which also through the UNIDO office with the UN, I'm working with them until today. We are also mentoring entrepreneurs from around the globe who are suffering from the pandemic. Let me give you also a little bit of what happened in Bahrain in terms of supporting businesses. Of course, Bahraini women owns 48% from the total commercial registration in Bahrain registered. Few initiatives were pumped in from the government to support the businesses and the affected businesses, which one of them were packages from Temkin, which is a labor fund, and they were grants. It was in form of grants to support business. It's a business continuity program. Plus, there were a support from the government to waive off the electricity and water bills for almost 6 months. Salaries of Bahraini staff also in the companies were paid in full for almost 6 months and subsidized. And again, the banks as well deferred all the loans for 6 months without interest and extended further 6 month support as well. And if I go back to our social and our BEO, our organization from our side, we also supported the Supreme Council consultation program, and that some of us are also mentoring some of the entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs who were also affected from this pandemic. We also came up with different initiatives through our organization, which was also we tried also to help the Bahraini entrepreneurs to digitalize their businesses, and we have created a new platform which was launched a few days ago, and we called it Bahrain Souk. This is to connect them with the outside to help them to sell outside the Bahrain. So this is one of the initiatives that we also have done. Plus, we have also opened and signed with the World Business Angel Investment Forum, and we opened a branch for them in Bahrain, which also will help in getting business angels into those businesses and to get smart finance to them. Thank you very much, Ingrid, and I think I took a lot of your time today.
Feryal, thank you so much for being here. I know that you've got a number of things happening today in Bahrain, and so it is always just such a pleasure and a gift to spend time with you. Thank you for your leadership in the MENA region, and I'm so excited. We are so excited to do so much more with you as we come into this new year of 2021. Thank you for being here. And so now, everyone, as we begin to wrap up today's event, we've got just a couple other things for you that we're really excited about. And one of those is my opportunity to introduce to you one of the other, I mean, again, I wish you could meet all of them, but an extraordinary executive here at EBW. She is the Executive Vice President of Education and Human Resources, Cynthia Barnes. The woman that you're about to meet, talk about a self-made woman. Prior to coming to EBW, she went and earned her mechanical engineering degree. She is an attorney, and she has a Six Sigma black belt in processes as well. And you heard Fatos at the beginning of the conversation, and you also got to meet Julie as we were rolling out the healthcare division of the business. And in those early days, especially, really understanding exactly where everything was at, exactly how all the processes of this distribution was going to work. Where were the products? How was it being delivered? What were the exacts of the money being spent? Was everything on time? Cynthia was the woman who stepped up to the plate to make sure and ensure that everything was done with excellence. And she's the one that got on the plane, went over to Turkey, and lived there, I think, for about a month and a half in those early days. And she's about to go off again for us, which we're so grateful for. But with that, Cynthia, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Ingrid. You know, I think when the pandemic happened, I was on furlough. And during the furlough, I actually attended some training by EBW. So EBW has some virtual chapters. And so what they were doing during the pandemic to encourage people, they were having an hour session every day. And it was just really inspiration. And during that time, Ingrid did some training on building your business plan. And she had the final day, she asked, you know, people to get in the hot seat and present their business plan. And so I did that, and I presented to Ingrid, you know, my idea of my business, and that was really, you know, helping people to put processes and controls in place. And she stopped in the middle of it and was like, I need you on my team. And so, you know, the next week we had a conversation, and here I am. And what I have to say about that is I'm just, you know, so grateful. I think someone said earlier, you know, empowered women empower women. And that's what I get from Ingrid. I hadn't gotten a promotion in 4 years. And I came here, I've gotten 2 promotions, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this team, to be doing this work with PPE and being a part of this community. And today is a really special day. You know, I'm glad that I had the opportunity to close. What I'd like to do is I'd like to bring everybody back on camera, if they would, because today is a very special day. Today is Ingrid's birthday, and a very special birthday, her 50th birthday. So Ingrid, on behalf of the EBW team, I just want to say happy birthday to you.
Bon
Happy
anniversaire, joyeux anniversaire de Paris.
Happy birthday. Yom Huledet Sameach.
Happy birthday. Doğum günün kutlu olsun.
Fabulous. Now,
Well, thank you.
Ingrid, you stay on the screen. Everybody else, thank you so much. Ingrid, we have something very special for your 50th birthday.
Yes, baby girl, happy birthday. When I think of friends, I think of you. When I think of baby girls, I think of you.
Oh my gosh, it's your birthday. so awesome. You are the power girl, and you know it.
Happy birthday to my favorite redhead from Mueller Lake Park. Hope your day is full of food and fun and a little bit of wine.
Huge hugs and kisses, my friend, and may God really refuel you on your special day.
50, you amaze me, and congrats on your EBW 2020 milestone. You did it.
Hey Ingrid, happy birthday. I'm happy to send this to you from another amazing red place, the Valley of Fire here in Nevada. And so I'm celebrating National Redhead Day, Ingrid Vandervelt's birthday, Valley of Fire, nature. It all ties together. Red's a very powerful color.
Happy birthday, Ink.
Happy birthday, Ingrid.
Hello, Ingrid. 7 years ago, we met in Istanbul, and I was your tour guide then. It was a starting for a great friendship. I'm sending you my happy birthday wishes from Istanbul today, and I'm sending all my love.
It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday, Ivy.
What an amazing weekend for you to celebrate your birthday on. What a time to be alive and happy that everything is going the way it should be.
Thank you for being the woman that you are, the friend that you are, the leader that you are, and the fierce, fabulous female who finds other fierce, fabulous females and always finds the best in them. I love you.
Happy birthday, Ingrid.
We love you.
Have a great day.
Yeah. Love you.
Ingrid, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ingrid. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Ingrid. We love you. Rock on, rock on, rock on.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here with EBW Day. Thank you for being part of the event. We can't wait to do this next year with you. Thank you, ladies, for coming and joining us today, and for all the amazing men that we get to lock arms with, do life with, and move this vision forward. We are so excited about the next 10 years. Thank you.
My name's Jackie Benson. This song's called Back to Earth.
Dance, he said. Dance like you'll never dance again. Laugh, he said. Laugh like you'll never laugh again. He died a young man, but seemed an old man. So not the end, but a way to begin again. Tell me once, tell me twice, tell me that I'll never die. When you lie, won't you please tell me why? When you can't, then I'll search for the answer.
Thanks so much, you guys. My name's Jackie Vincent. Thanks for being here for Global EBW Day 2020. It's been a pleasure playing for you guys, and I'll see you around the world.